Boo! Sorry, did I give you a wee fright? Probably how close to how much you shit yourself when your clients are ghosting you. And here's the thing, right? I know you feel like your clients are ghosting you. They are not actually ghosting you. It just feels that way to you. Because see, if they were really ghosting you, you would be living in a haunted house at this rate, right? Listen, you will always immediately assume that it's about you. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. The difficulty here is, if the client won't speak to you, then how will you know? Ghosting is actually one of the most consistent problems that we solve inside of Built for Coaches. And using our haunted house strategy, we've taught upwards of 180 coaches who were being left on red for 2 to 4 weeks and then getting a churn message, how to re-engage their conversations and build relationships that have taken clients from the verge of leaving to working with them for 12 to 18 months plus. So I'm going to give you an insight into why this is happening with your clients and how you fix it. And if you stick around till the end, I'm going to give you the solution that we would normally charge people for free. So if you want the goods, keep watching. Okay, so here's a really key thing that we need to understand, right? We need to look at the picture of your haunted house, okay? What we have in your haunted house and the things that are stressing you out about your clients are things like not responding to you for 2 weeks, not checking in, but they're posting in their Instagram story and you're finding yourself getting raging. They're posting their Instagram story and they're not responding to me. Why are they doing this? What have I done wrong? Did I challenge them too much? Have I pissed them off? Has something happened that I don't know about, right? You start to get frantic, okay? Then you think, do you know what? I'm going to shoot them a message. And the message will sound something like, hey, just checking to see if you're getting these messages, right? Because you recognise, well, if they're able to post their Instagram and they're not responding to me, what is it that I have done wrong that's causing them not to respond to me, right? What have I done wrong? Or you go, fuck them, they're a victim, forget about it, just gonna let them do their own thing, they're probably going to leave anyway, right? None of these things are ghosting, okay? But because of how these things make you feel as a coach and the sense of rejection that comes over you, it feels like going on a date with somebody and you thought that you got on really, really well and you couldn't wait to see them again, and then you never hear from them ever again and they disappear off the face of the earth. You feel that emotion of rejection every single time these things happen, right? So that's the first thing. You experience that emotion of rejection, thinking, what have I done wrong? What is wrong with me? The next thing that happens in your brain is you say, well, churn is inevitable, right? It's inevitable now that they are going to leave. And what happens, and what you don't recognise yourself doing, is that you then start to speak to them differently, coach them differently, and interact with them differently, because you make the assumption that churn is inevitable when actually you don't even know what the problem is in the first place, okay? Now, none of these things are ghosting either. Client taking a few days or a week to respond to you, not ghosting. A client responding to you differently from how they usually do, maybe using a different tone or not using emojis, not ghosting, right? Client using less emojis, not ghosting. Client who normally sends you voice notes, sending you messages instead, not ghosting. Client who says everything's fine when you think that it isn't, not ghosting. The reason that you freak out here, like I said, that sense of rejection, that churn is inevitable, right? But also there's not a predictability in it. Remember, for human beings to feel safe, we have to have a sense of consistency and predictability around the conditions that we live in, especially our interactions with other people. It helps us to feel safe and it helps us to feel a sense of belonging. So when people behave in an unpredictable manner, your brain starts to panic and goes, well, what's going to happen next? Of course, what's going to happen next is what you think is the worst possible outcome, and that's the client churning, okay? Now, coaches band about that word ghosting all the time, exactly as I said, just because of how it makes them feel, right? You experience the emotion of ghosting as a human being, but you need to learn how to detach yourself from it to understand it objectively, okay? So the only definition of what ghosting actually is if the client disappears, never speaks to you again, and you never hear from them ever again. That is what ghosting is. So unless that is the thing that is happening to you, you don't have anywhere near the amount of ghosts floating about your haunted house as you think that you do. But I'm going to move on and tell you why this actually happens and how you change it. So, one of the main reasons for why someone will change their communication style with you, right, or potentially ghost, right, is because the client doesn't feel psychologically safe enough to share with you what is actually going on. Okay, now there are some exclusions to this, okay, which will be personal circumstances. Remember, trust is earned, it is not a given. And sometimes, because we deal with people and their lives and all of the different things that goes on in their lives, we can feel a sense of entitlement, like an unconscious entitlement to knowing what is happening to them at all stages. But don't forget, people are coming to you for health and fitness coaching, right? So they might not yet feel fully comfortable sharing with you the conditions of what's happening in their life, their own personal circumstances, difficult situations that are going on for them. They might just not be up for sharing, okay? However, there could also be some disruption to their psychological safety working with you and within your program that could be to do with your coaching. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through what that is. So what we have here, right, is a psychological safety grid. Now, what we see are 4 different zones across how people experience being part of any culture and any community, right? In the kind of top left here, we've got high psychological safety, low standards. This helps people to feel in a comfort zone. So this is when you're too cushy, too friendly, right? There's not actually a lot of coaching going on, and we're kind of veering into that friendship place with a client. Now, whether or not you can be friends with your clients seems to be a bit of like a contentious issue inside of the industry. I am of the belief that you absolutely can have friendship with your clients as long as it doesn't get in the way of coaching. And this is what happens for people quite a lot of the time, is that when the client sees you as a friend, they no longer respond to you as a coach, right? So we're actually having low standards met consistently. We're not really having the challenging conversations that we need to get to a result. And the person feels pretty cushy, right? They feel quite happy working with you, but they're in their comfort zone, they're not moving forward. They will eventually feel a frustration at that lack of moving forward and not see value in interacting with you as coach. That's when they start to become at risk of churning, okay? Underneath this, bottom left, we have low standards, low psychological safety. This is the apathy zone, okay? This is where a lot of coaches find themselves and where their clients end up when they start to become disillusioned with the coaching process as a whole. If you find yourself in a position where you've been in a really high period of churn, you're questioning if it's your time to leave the industry, you're questioning how much longer you can do this for, you become apathetic towards coaching, and therefore that's reflected in how your clients behave. So they don't feel safe enough to work with you properly, but there's also not high standards being set and achieved here. So they become pretty ambivalent and apathetic towards the process as a whole, which is often a reflection of how you are feeling and you are behaving, okay? Across from this, in the bottom right, we have high standards, low psychological safety. This is the anxiety zone, right? This is also not a great place to be, because this is when the coach is often behaving like a drill sergeant. This is when coach is in the position of thinking, I just need to be hard, firm and direct with every single client, and that's what will get everybody results. And you need to recognise that that actually only gets results for a very small percentage of people. For the vast majority of people, it makes them feel panicked, it makes them feel anxious, and it stops them from being honest and forthcoming with you. Because if they think that they're going to get into trouble, they think that you're going to react negatively to something that they're finding difficult, or they don't feel that you're going to actually help them to explore why they're finding something challenging, they're just not going to tell you. So you're either not going to hear from them at all, or you will hear things like, yep, good, everything's fine, checking in green every single week, but never actually making any progress. You feel that you can never get to in-depth conversations with them. They don't really need you. You're not really in a position where you feel like you're actively helping them to work through things. It all feels a wee bit quiet and surface level. There could be the risk here that you have been too direct, too challenging, and it's come across as aggressive and made your clients actually anxious to be forthcoming with you. Where we want to be in order to stop ghosting from happening forever and promote really safe and healthy communication with clients is high standards, high psychological safety. This is when we're in the learning and high performance zone, where clients are able to perform well, but not being punished for when they don't, right? So how we deal with difficulties, how we deal with setbacks and challenges will dictate how safe a client is able to feel to be able to come to you with that as their coach, right? So remember, whenever a client experiences failure, we're helping them to reframe that as part of your progress, right? Whenever the client comes to you in the belief that they're not achieving things because they're a perfectionist, we're helping them to recognise that actually being a perfectionist is the thing that's getting in your way. Let's be a striving high achiever instead. Because a striving high achiever looks at what got in the way of this result instead of I am not good enough, I am not worthy of the result, right? This is all about actually how do you help your clients to understand the challenges that they experience in relation to the coaching process that are totally normal and part of the process. Don't let them off the hook with it and say, oh, it's fine, don't worry, you'll be okay, you'll get there eventually. Don't punish them for it and say you need to suck it up and do the work if you want this result. We sit right in the middle, high support, high challenge, and say, let's understand what went wrong here and how we move forward together. That's how you build strong psychological safety inside of your community and inside of your culture. That means that people have no reason to ghost you. They see benefit in speaking to you about their challenges because you always coach them successfully through it. So, you might be saying to me, but Jen, how do I get the client to re-engage? Right? They've not spoke to me for weeks. I've sent them a message and they just won't come back to me. Okay, I'm going to let you in on the solution. So head to the description, the link in the description. You'll find a link to Built to Scale. This is our resource, one of our resources that we use to teach you the frameworks, tools and resources that we teach inside of Built for Coaches. This normally has a price point, but if you're coming from this video, then we will give you access for free. So if you shoot me a DM on Instagram, which is also linked below, send me the word ghost and I will give you access to a re-engagement framework that helps you to get any ghosting client to get back on track, back engaged with you in communication and no longer a churn risk. So DM me, ghost, and I'll let you in for free.